last time you wrote an actual check or bought something with cash? Swiping and tapping our cards and our apps are not just the easiest way to spend money, they're the safest way, unless, of course, we misplace our phones or our wallets, and then it's a nightmare. It is hard to misplace your hands, however. And soon your hand may be all that you need to buy anything that you can afford and many things that you can't. Because a company called Walletmore is developing a very teeny tiny chip. You see it there in the X-ray? That should creep you out. That should creep you out. The chip is like the ones that are found in smart credit cards or debit cards, and the chip gets embedded just under your skin and makes your whole hand a credit card. Joining me now is Wojtek Perota. He's the CEO and founder of Walletmore. Okay, Wojtek, this is so futuristic and out there, but walk me through how it actually works.
Okay, so first of all, thanks for having me. Let's look at the chip as a super small part that you can use wherever contactless payments are accepted. So it's exactly the same NFC technology, which stands for near field communication, and therefore it can be used only for the near field communication payments. So therefore you cannot be tracked, you cannot be monitored, you cannot be spied with that implant because it's exactly the same technology as credit card.
So here's my worry, is that you can accidentally buy something by just having your hand too close to a machine, or you could accidentally have your data all stolen by shaking someone's hand, because a lot of times we protect our cards in cases that can't be penetrated. But if it's in your hand, it's really hard to do that.
It's not that simple, to be honest. First of all, you cannot lose money when you are shaking hands with anyone, because the implant is the passive tag and it doesn't have any internal source of energy, and therefore the only option to get the read of that implant is to put it in the near field of terminal. So therefore the other implant, which is inside of the other person's hand, is not capable of processing information. You need to have that source of energy, and only terminals that you can see at the moment are capable of providing that energy. So that's one thing. The other thing is that you definitely cannot lose your money because of the fact that you tap in a random place. Why? Because the implant is so small compared to the credit card. Normally, of course, when you tap the credit card, the terminal, it gets the read instantly. With the implant, it's a little bit different because you need to be super precise. And therefore, if someone is touching your hand, finding this perfect sweet spot, because that's how we need to look at it, you would realize at least 10 times that something is going on with your hand. So that's
do you have it? Wojtek, do you have it in your hand right now?
Yeah, of course. Actually, the X-ray that you saw was from my hand, and that's how it looks. On my hand.
So show me your hand. Is it possible to see it at all? It's just barely standing out, right? Like it looks like maybe a little like a scar.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm popping it a little bit.
Oh man, that's crazy. Did you have a doctor insert it?
Yeah, of course, that's part of the deal, because we are only building the implants, and when it comes to the installations, we want the whole experience to be as safe as possible, and therefore we built a network of partners all across Europe and the US. So therefore, if you are ordering an implant from our site, it's of course shipped to you, but then you need to schedule the appointment with one of the specialists who will just set it up for you.
So do you use it? Like, do you go up to a cashier and say, yeah, I'll just tap my hand? And if that's the case, what's the reaction from the sales clerks?
Yeah, of course. I've been testing it myself since the very beginning. I have been the first person to get it installed, and reactions are pretty wild, to be honest. Sometimes people just don't care, but because when they are stuck in the office for like 10 hours, they just do not care. They just care about having the payment to be processed. But sometimes the reactions are really extreme, because when I tap my hand and there's clearly nothing here inside of the glove or anything else, anywhere else, they are just asking, how the hell is that possible? You need to have a watch somewhere down here in your shirt. But when I'm just taking it down and seeing and showing that, okay, there's nothing out there, then the conversation begins. But in most cases, it turns out to be like a positive conversation, because as long as explain how it works and what's actually inside, they're pretty much optimistic about it. So there is an instant.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's still a lot of regulatory. I mean, this is a long way before it's mass market appeal, but it is really interesting to see that you're on the leading edge of this and that you're doing it yourself as your lead guinea pig. Wojciech Paprota, thanks so much for being on. I want to stay with you on this story to see how you do with the business. Thank you for watching.
This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he make a fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. I like to say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the elders at Great Millstone. Honor to all the brethren out here doing the work in the will of the Father in truth and sincerity. And this is your fellow servant, Arya, back with another lesson. Revelation chapter 13, verse 13. And he doeth great wonders. Who doeth great wonders? Who is this he? Esau, Edom, Idumea, the so-called white man. He doeth great wonders. And what are those great wonders? Read it on. So that he make a fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. So his great wonder is that he make a fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And how does he does this? How does he do this great wonder? Through his military powers, through his military might, his missiles, his weaponry. Verse 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. So this is how he deceived the different world powers or the other nations that dwell on earth. This is how he deceived them through those miracles. What miracles? His military might, his weaponry, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. What is this beast? This beast is what you know as EU or NATO. This is how he deceived all nations that dwell upon the earth. This is why he goes around bombing at will, bombing people into submission. Verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles. His military powers, his military might, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. That beast represents EU, NATO. Saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast. Yeah, that they should make their society, their nation, their governments, make it in the image, make it like the beast, which is NATO, EU, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And this beast system, which you know today as EU, NATO, was wounded when? Back when it was called the Roman Empire. So it was wounded, but now it does live, because now this is the new Roman Empire. This beast system, what you know as NATO, EU, and the whore that rideth upon the beast, which is America. America with EU and NATO, which is what goes around conquering the earth at this very moment in time. That is the new Roman Empire. And that's why the wound was healed. This is why the beast that was wounded is still living, because it was once the Roman Empire, but now it's the new Roman Empire, which is the whore that rideth upon the beast, which is America, and the beast itself, which is EU and NATO. Verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. Who had power to give life unto the image of the beast? That he is Esau, Edom, Idumea, the so-called white man. He had power to give life unto the image of the beast. He's the one that's going around pushing his power structure around the earth. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And this is what the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, of the scriptures, this is This is what he goes around accomplishing through his propaganda machine, or what you know as media. All right. He puts on his media, on his propaganda machine. He puts out that any nation that's not going along with his rules, his regulations, that those nations, if they're not down with the beast system, which is EU, NATO, and America, that those nations are somehow stopping liberty, somehow stopping people from being independent and enjoying life, and that those nations that's not a part of what they trying to do are an evil empire. This is what NATO and America pushes, man, through their propaganda machine, pumping out lies, falsehoods, and deceits. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And this is what he pushes. So if you're not down, if you're not with America, EU, and NATO, then you should be killed. And this is what you see in the propaganda machine towards Russia and all the other countries that are siding with Russia at this very moment in time, or what you people know as Russia, which is Gog and Magog. Verse 16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Who is this he? Esau, Edom, Idumea, the so-called white man, with his beast system, which is what? The whore that rideth upon the beast, which is America, and the beast itself, which is EU and NATO. They will be pumping out and causing the world to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Whether you are small, whether you are great, rich, or poor, or free, or bond. This is what you see in the video, in the media clip, on the propaganda machine that I have within this video. Who is doing this? Who's behind this? Who is that he? The so-called white man, Esau, Edom, Idumea, the devil, Lucifer, the red dragon, the red horse of the scriptures. He is responsible for this. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he had that mark. What mark? That very mark that you saw in the video, that CHIP, which is the MOTB. That mark. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And this is what they're trying to get to. They're trying to get to the point that if you want to make any type of transactions, if you want to do any type of sales, you must have that CHIP in your hand or in your forehead. And once again, who's pushing this? Who is that he? Esau, Edom, Idumea, the so-called white man. Through his what? Through his propaganda machine, through his media. And once again, how does he have the power to do this? Through his military power, through his beast system, which is NATO, EU, and then the whore that rideth upon the beast, which is America. Verse 18, here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. So this system is of a man. What man? The so-called white man. He's putting this system into play. He's putting this CHIP system into play. For it is a number of a man, and his number is 636, which is what? The barcode. So he is the man that's responsible for putting this system in place through his power structure, which is what? EU NATO, which is the beast, and the whore that rideth upon the beast, which is America, and through the propaganda machine. This is what they're pushing upon the earth. All right. And there's a number, and his number is 603 score and 6, which is the barcode. That's how the barcode is structured. All right. So basically, the so-called white man, the elites, they essentially want all those that go along with their system to receive the CHIP, so they could become a commodity, so they could be tracked, so you could become a slave, so they could know what you were doing, where you were going, how you doing it, when you doing it, so they can have complete control. So with that, I like to say all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah. Double honors to the elders at Great Millstone. Honor to all the brethren out here doing the work in the will of the Father in truth and sincerity. Shalom.